Alright, so in this tutorial I'm going to be covering hash. Now, hash as a definition to me is simply a dictionary for your program. And what that means is I can access anything as long as I have the identifier for it. Now that probably doesn't make a lot of sense at the moment, but I'll get into that in a sec. So for starters, we start the hash array with hash, or you can call it whatever you want. It's the same as any other variable, so variable, but I like to call it hash, so I'm going to call it hash equals. Now instead of the square brackets like you normally do, it's curly, them two. That's how you start a hash. Okay, now after we've done that, you can access a hash like it's any array. So I can go hash 1 is equal to, I don't know, let's say hi. And now that's just the integer part of it. I can even go hash 1.0 is equal to hello. And then I can go hash symbol is equal to, you guessed it, hi. Nope, that. So now if I print it out, hash, what are we going to see? We are going to see 1 is equal to hi, 1.0 equal to hello, symbol is equal to hi, and that's a symbol too. Now, what this does is, you are actually, when you are using the array brackets, like we know what array does obviously, so if I was making an array and I go array 0, I'm accessing the first element in the array. When it comes to hashes, instead of just accessing a part of it, you can assign, like you can't move an array obviously, but it's an identifier essentially. So I can have anything as the identifier. So it can be a string, it can be a float, it can be a boolean, though I don't recommend doing a boolean, and a symbol. It can also be, you can even have an array as an identifier if you wanted to. So I can actually go hash here and go hash array, so 1, nope, inside of it, an array inside of an array, remember? 1, 2. Alright, and that's equal to array. Alright, print it out. There we go. So 1, 2 being the identifier of the hash is equal to array. Alright, now it's starting to get a little convoluted now, and it's not as simple as it should be. Put it simply, when it comes to hash, if you can make the name whatever you want. Once you open up the square bracket, you can type in anything you want. Now I personally prefer to use symbols because it's readable. So if I want to get some information, say another good thing to be using them for is for editable regions, because just like in our collision sound here, our editable region, how we have this, I can actually use this as a hash. So I can make hash is equal to that, and then go collision SC, so symbol that. Alright, and what that will do is, if I want to access the information side there, I can just go hash and just copy that, which will in turn give me this. So it will actually return that back to me. So I can then go into here and go get rid of you, put it there. So then I can do the so then that's pretty much the same thing as just putting collision SE on it. So that's it's a good thing for an editable region if you want to go that far. The only time I use hashes for editable regions is when I have a lot of information. Alright, and an example of that would be if I was to open up my other project. No, yep, that's the one. I was using that for my Fire Emblem and this Gale weapon script. So this one, light version, the not so light version. Alright, and here's where I'm using hashes. So I'm using a hash, weapon accumulation is what I called it, and inside of the hash I made another hash for weapon type 1, which is the axe, and then you can put in weapon accumulation for actor 1, actor 2, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty simple that way, whereas you can put a hash inside of a hash if you want, so you can make a dictionary within a dictionary. Think of it as a 2D array if you must. It can work that way. Otherwise, that's the purpose behind hashes. So, going back to our thing here, as I was saying, you can put the identifier as anything you want. So, like I said, I prefer to use symbols because symbols are English and readable, but you don't have to. So, I can have it as an array, as I've done here, which means if I want to access what was inside of this identifier, I can put the array there. So, I'll just go Mr. Box underscore P, print it out, get rid of the other one because I don't need it, and it'll print out array. Alright, see, array. Now obviously I've put an array inside that identifier, so if I was to put 3 here, what's it going to give me? Nil. Alright, because what we've done is here in the array itself, we have gone 1 and 2 is the identifier inside of an array, so it has to be element 0 is 1 and element 1 has to be 2. Whereas in this one I've asked it to find me an array with element 0 being 1 and element 1 being 3, and that does not match this, so it doesn't give me the array. So, just to prove it does work, 10 and 400. And put this back to 2, Mr. P, which is already working, and there we go. Now if I did want to get specific elements, I can do that the same way, just by going at the end of the hash and going 0. Alright, that looks very, very convoluted now, doesn't it? Alright, so here's what we're basically doing. We're going hash, so we're getting the variable this is all stored in, this stuff. And then we are opening up the array brackets for it, because it's kind of an array, sort of. So we're getting the array brackets for it, and inside we are passing in the identifier, which is 1 and 2. And then after that we're getting 0, so 0. And I think actually I might be doing that wrong. We're about to find out. I think I might be. Nope, I think I did it right. Ah, right, no. There. 0. There we go. So access second element, which would be 1. Now I get 10. Excellent. So it's just like in any ordinary variable in that case, array. Alright, so if I want to get the symbol, I can do that too, just by putting symbol, and that will give me the symbol. Hi. Alright, now that's hash in a nutshell. It's better as a global variable sometimes. Now you will see this a lot for imports. Now, in my personal opinion, I think imports are overused very, very much. If you don't know what an import is, I'm sure you would have seen it before if you checked out some scripts made by other people. What it is basically a global hash. So we'll go imported. That's what I think it's normally called anyway. It's equal to that hash, and then goes imported. Script name goes here, script name equals true. And as I just told you about hashes, that means that every time it gets this hash thing here, it's actually going to create an identifier with the script name, and it's going to make it equal to true. So I can go message box underscore p imported, which will print out true. See, script name is equal to true. Now, the reason why that's used as imported is if I was to make a script and then I want to make an add-on for that script, that's what I'll be using imports for. So that's what imported means. Now, this normally comes up looking something like this, unless imported is not equal to nil. Alright, because as it's a global variable, if I defined it up here somewhere, so imported is equal to hash up here, and that means it's not nil, so don't redefine it. Alright, so you'll see either like that or like this. Yep. Alright, that looks a little bit weird now, doesn't it? Well, that's what the parentheses are for. So what you're basically doing is this. You're going imported is equal to hash, and then you're doing the script name stuff here. So script name equal to true. Now, what's going on is this here is the logical OR operator, and I've mentioned this before. The logical OR, so use for if statements. If statements meaning if bool1 or bool2, then do something. Whereas in this case, when you're using not equals, that means if this has no value to it assigned already, or it's equal to false probably, I'm not sure about that one. If this is currently nil, then make it equal to this. Alright, and if it is equal to this, that means it isn't nil, so it's not going to redefine it. So either this or this comes out of this parentheses, which means either way it's going to be a hash, which means I can't access it using the array brackets here and pass in my identifier. So you will see that quite a bit from more professional scripters. Alright, so that's what imported is for. Now, let's say I do make a patch add-on for it. You will see something like this. So if imported array, obviously, old script name, so script we're looking for, script we are looking for, equal true, then you know script is included. Yeah. Otherwise, it's, you know, not. Script not included. Tell off user, which a lot of them do actually. So, yeah. Alright. I'm starting to get out of it a little bit. So we have imported. That's the hash array that we're talking about. So hashes simply work as a dictionary. You can pass in whatever you want to them as many times as you want. Alright, so if I was to just make a hash here and go hash is equal to that, I can go hash, pass in whatever the hell I damn well please, so I can go 2 if I want to. It's equal to another hash, and then I can go hash 2, which is actually getting the value of this, and then pass in something else, so I can get script equal to true. And if I print out hash now, I should get rid of that because that might cause a break. Message box and score p hash. Okay, play and all that stuff. See, and we get 2 is equal to script true. And that's basically what it does. So 2 is just the identifier, and it's pointing you towards this, which is what its value is and what you're checking. Okay. Alright, and that's my explanation why I think imports are overused. Now, if I go through all my scripts and look at import, which I don't ever use, the only things I've used them for is my skit system, which I made recently. The reason why I made it, see, I don't name mine imported, I name mine that so other people don't touch it. Alright? The reason why I name it, the reason why I'm using import for this script, and I don't think I'm using it for any of my other scripts, I'm pretty sure I'm not, is because eventually when I get around to it, I plan on making an add-on for this script, which will allow you to enter a scene to replay old skits. And I need this code here for this script to be able to use the code for that script. So I need to make sure this is imported, otherwise you cannot use that next script. That's the reason why this import here is on and working, because if it wasn't, then the other script would be installed, and if you don't have this one installed currently, then you won't be able to. It won't work. It will crash your game. So that's what the imported is being used for in my script here. If I go searching around for my other scripts, I really don't think I am using it for anything else. If it's going to be another script, it's probably this one. No, Oh yes, actually I'm using it for my status screen, which is not in this project. I don't know why I don't have it in this project. That's the one. Status. There, and I'm using it in this one. See? Use the import in that one. When did I make this? Yeah, that's why. Alright, so if you go looking around through custom scripts, you will notice that a lot of the times they have people who have made really small script snippets, so something like this, and they actually have imported equal to this script name equals true, and there's really no need for that, because unless you're actually planning on adding a patch to this, you have no reason to waste memory space in the import of the hash that you're using. You really have no reason at all. So unless you're actually planning on adding patches or add-ons and other such stuff that requires code from a certain script, don't use imports in your script, please. It is overused and not needed half the time. Alright, so that's all there is to hashes. I hope I taught well. I think I probably just rambled on for about 8 minutes. But it's quite simple. You just make a hash with two curly ones. Alright, because if I was to have it as that means I'm making an array and this won't work. I actually want that. And it's just a dictionary, which points you to things you're looking for. So I can make an array inside of any of the identifiers if I wanted to, or a string, or a boolean, or whatever I want. It's the exact same. It's just an array that has identifiers with it. So you don't have to access things by going array 0, or array 1, or 2, or 3, or 4. You can go hash and then put a name in it, an English name with a symbol, or you can even use a string if you want to. So I can actually go hash string in arrays, obviously, array brackets, because that's creating identifiers, equal to text. And if I print out hash again, which I will because I'm _p, see, our string identifier is equal to text. So you can use strings and symbols. I prefer symbols because of the color coding, and it looks a little bit nicer, because why would you add strings to an identifier? It doesn't really make much sense. But that is all for hash. It is really simple and straightforward. Now you do have a couple of options available to you, so which is the methods. So if we go check the methods, we'll see what options we have. So we have rehash to hash 2a, which is to array. So if I want to convert my hash into an array, I can do that. 2s, convert it to a string. It's probably not going to be very useful. .size.length, which is the same as the array really, and .key. Alright, and here's a good thing. .each and each keys, which is somewhere around here. I can't really see at the moment. Each key, there it is. Each key and each. Alright, so ending off my last note. You can do a TD array with inside of a hash if you want to. So as I've done here, I've gone array is equal to is equal to an array. Then array element 0 is equal to array.new, and then array element 1 is equal to array.new. So that's going to be looking something a little bit like this. Array is equal to, okay, and then inside of that we're putting in text, hello, laugh, and I'm doing that again because I can't be asked doing something much better. Alright, so you can do a 2D array inside of a hash if you want to, so I can have an array inside of an array inside of a hash. And even then, you can probably do 3D arrays inside of the hash as well, and so on and so forth. Try not to go too far with it. Okay, so 2D arrays, as I said, are acceptable, so I can make better use of it probably. So I can put a hash inside of a hash that has a 2D array inside of a hash inside of a hash. Alright, seriously, it's getting a bit too complex for me to word it properly, but I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Before I go, I do want to cover one more thing. Now, with arrays, I can go array.each do element, and then go p element, which will give me all that. Now, as we know, when we do array.each, it actually gives me each element in the array, so it's going to start at 0, then 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, until it gets to the end of it. So it's just going to give me what it's currently holding for me. Now, when it comes to hashes, you can use .each But I've noticed there's sometimes a problem where if you use .each, it will actually convert your hash into an array. So unless you want to convert your hash into an array, I wouldn't recommend using each. .each. Instead, if you're going to use hash, use hash.each key. Alright, and that means it will give you this instead of 1 to 0 and 3 and 4. So if you use .each key, it has never converted it into an array for me. And when I say converts, I mean it actually converts it. So be sure to use each key instead of .each. Alright? That's just a little tip of mine because it really did bug my code and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't doing what it was supposed to. And it's because each can sometimes convert into an array. I don't seem to be able to replicate it at the moment, but it did work. It did do that to mine. So just use each key when you're iterating through hashes. Okay. Is there anything else I have to cover? No, I don't think so. Just hash to each key and I'll go through each of them. Yep. Alright, and there we go. We've got two string and array, which is our keys. Alright, that's all there is to hashes. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is. Try not to use imports unless you're actually going to use them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So until next time, stay safe.